There were rallies around the country today, including here in Washington. Shomari Stone is live outside the White House, where one is still going on. Shomari.
Good evening. Troy Davis is expected to be executed in less than 2 hours at 7 o'clock. Right now, there were students from Howard University, and they are sitting outside the White House along the gate. They have masking tape over their faces, and they're saying that that's an act of a silent protest. But they made a lot of noise a few moments ago when 13 of the protesters were arrested, 12 for disobeying law enforcement, 1 for crossing a barricade. In all fairness, the president of the Howard Student Association, Brandon Harris, says that the protesters were not breaking any laws, that they were outside. However, police are saying that they asked them to leave, get off, and they did not, and that they were arrested for an act of disobedience. Now, we're going to hear from the protesters right now. Let's roll the story.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
A last-ditch rally outside the White House demanding the state of Georgia stop the execution of death row inmate Troy Davis.
No justice, no peace!
Around 500 Howard University students marched from campus to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They also want President Obama to call on the Justice Department to step in.
We think at the very least, a civil rights investigation is justified to make sure, well, not just to make sure, but to establish the true innocence or guilt, and we believe it's innocence, of Troy Davis.
Troy Davis was convicted and sentenced for killing Savannah police officer Mark McPhail in 1989. Yesterday, the Georgia Board of Pardons and Parole denied Davis clemency.
And in all fairness, what do you say to folks who say Troy Davis is guilty and deserves to be executed tonight at 7 o'clock?
I mean, I think if you look at the basis of the evidence of which he was convicted by, it is proven that the evidence is faulty.
9 witnesses testified Davis was the shooter, but 7 of the 9 have recanted or contradicted their testimony since the conviction. Some claim police coerced them. Troy Davis's defense lawyers say the murder weapon was never found and there isn't enough physical evidence in the case.
Davis has international support from Pope Benedict, Desmond Tutu, and former President Jimmy Carter, but even these protesters admit that time is running out.
We don't want Troy Davis to be executed.
But Officer McPhail's family wants him to die. They say he's guilty.
The future that we would have had together was taken from us, and the future that he would have with his family was taken.
Once again, Troy Davis is scheduled to be executed by lethal injection at 7 o'clock in Georgia. As for the protesters here at the White House, they say they are going to continue to stay here. They have masks over their faces. They say it's a silent protest. Live here outside the White House, I'm Shomari Stone. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Shomari, thank you.
You're watching NBC4, Washington's news leader. Now, live in HD, this is News 4 at 11.
Tonight, breaking news in the case of Troy Davis. The Supreme Court has just decided not to block his execution in Georgia. That execution had been delayed several hours, waiting for the High Court's decision. Good evening. I'm Jim Vance.
And I'm Doreen Gensler. Troy Davis was convicted in the 1989 killing of Savannah police officer Mark McPhail. But since his conviction, 7 of 9 witnesses against him have recanted or contradicted their testimony. And a lot of people nationwide believe there is more than enough doubt to stop his execution. One group of protesters is outside the Supreme Court tonight, and so is News 4's Shomari Stone. Shomari?
Well, we've been following these protesters from Howard University to the White House, now here to the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court building. Many of them right now are praying. They are quiet. They are actually flabbergasted, dumbfounded, shocked, saddened that this decision has come down. Now, the Supreme Court rejected a stay of execution for convicted killer Troy Davis. The protesters are shocked. They thought that the justices would stop the execution. That didn't happen. The protesters from Howard University and Amnesty International rallied at the foot of the U.S. Supreme Court building tonight. Troy Davis filed an appeal basically asking the court to stop his lethal injection. He was scheduled to die at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, Davis was convicted and sentenced for killing Savannah police officer Mark McPhail in 1989. As you guys mentioned, Jim and Doreen, 9 of the witnesses testified Davis was the shooter, but 7 of them recanted or contradicted their testimony. Some claim police coerced them, and Davis's defense lawyers say there wasn't enough physical evidence. For example, the murder weapon was never found. These are the reasons why the protesters are disappointed.
I feel nauseous. I feel like I want to throw up. I feel ashamed. I feel disgusted. I'm angry, and I don't know what what we can do. I wish that there was something that I could do, and I feel helpless.
I'm very disappointed, to be completely honest, yes.
Why?
Because he's an innocent man, and an innocent man should not be killed because of something he didn't do.
How do you know he's innocent?
Who knows? He's got to be innocent.
Now, but McPhail's family believes that Davis is guilty and they want him to die. Earlier today outside the White House, there were students from Howard University and they wanted President Obama to step in and stop the execution. I emailed the White House and an official finally got back to me tonight saying, quote, "It is not appropriate for the President of the United States to weigh in on specific cases like this one." Well, there's a lot of folks who are standing right outside the U.S. Supreme Court building right now. They are very sad and they want to see what's going to happen. When exactly will Troy Davis be executed? We will continue to stay on top of this story live here in D.C. I'm Shomari Stone. Back to you, Jim and Doreen.
Thank you, Shomari.
We continue our coverage now with the process that took place inside the Supreme Court tonight. Here's NBC Chief Justice correspondent Pete Williams.
The Supreme Court's action came about 4